Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to another live broadcast on Elaine's Extreme Paranormal channel. Tonight we have a very special guest. Her name is Melanie Herch, and our topic tonight is Wicca, Wiccan beliefs and practices. Melanie, hi, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, hello. Nice to see you, Elaine. Thanks for
Thank
having me.
you. Great to have you on the show. So would you care to tell us a little bit about yourself? Before you do, I've got to apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a little dental problem. If you might notice when I'm talking, I've got a little bit of an opening right here. And I'm waiting for the dentures to fix that problem for me. So please bear with me because tonight I don't have the plate. So, Melanie, please do carry on. I apologize for that.
Nope, that's fine. Hi, I'm Melanie. I'm a Wiccan. I'm a witch. I'm actually a high priestess. Wiccan beliefs are nature-based. We very much, literally, the ground that you walk on is what we worship. We follow the elements as well as the ether, and we go with the Lord and Lady pathogens is who we follow. Those can vary on which gods and goddesses people believe in and think of. Some adhere strictly to Greek or Roman. Some call upon those as they need them. It changes a little bit depending on the witch. Much like in Christianity, there are different schools of thoughts. Some are Baptist, Presbyterian, or Catholic. Same thing goes for Wicca. Some are more strict in their gardenia outlooks or traditional outlooks, whereas some are more eclectic.
Okay.
Follow that.
So, okay. Yeah, so, okay, like, all right, I'm a Baptist, so when I pray, I call on God. So when you pray, you call on your goddesses and whoever?
Typically, it would equate to we follow the Lord and Lady. So if you're going to equate it back to Christianity, that would be the equivalent of Jesus and Mother Mary. The balance of yin and yang and the feminine and masculine is what you're trying to achieve, that attunement, that yin and yang with nature. You know, in nature, you do have things that are masculine and feminine, and, you know, Mother Earth is very feminine. Whereas you also have the masculine attributes such as, you know, mountains. How can you ignore those kind of thing?
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. The masculine was what?
Mountains, for instance.
Okay.
Masculine, you know, or you get into the genres of, you know, the different elements or animals, for instance. You have that balance of male and female in different things. So,
well, I love nature myself. So,
well, exactly, and it's
and
very
wildlife seems to be attracted to me too. So,
yes. So there's the different elements that we bring into everything that we do in everyday life. So it's all around you. You just have to think about it. You don't think about the elements and break them up. So the 5 elements are earth, air, fire, and water. And the 5th one being spirit, the ether. And each of those we incorporate into our lives, into our everyday thinking and our spellcraft and how we act and what we do. Wiccans are very peaceful, actually. Not only are they nature-based and you get the hippie effect, you know, people think of witches and immediately think Hollywood and icky and yucky, and that's very far off base. That's not so. We're actually more inclined to be more respectful towards other beliefs and accepting than some quadrants of the universe and philosophies.
Okay, because I know some people have said, oh, gee, Wiccans, they're all evil, they all curse you all the time, this kind of a thing. And I don't know, like, I've known a number of Wiccans, and I've never found them that way. So
95% you're not going to. You know, magic, Wicca is the belief system, is the philosophy. It is the following the 4 elements and the nature and the Lord and Lady. Whereas magic and spellcraft, while incorporated it into witchcraft, you know, Wicca being the base word, and for witch, craft is actually the magical taking, the rituals, the spirits, the spells. That spellcraft, when incorporated in the two, is where you get witchcraft from. So when you get the Hollywood perspective, you watch some of the movies or whatnot, people are hexing and doing icky things. Well, that's against the creed. The traditional creed of a Wiccan is, do as thou will if it causes harm to none. So anything that you do and put out there, it's going to come back on you on the threefold law. That's what we follow. So it's kind of a boomerang effect.
Okay.
If I make a spell and I want better health for me or my family and we're ailing, and I put that spell out there, well, I want it to come back on me threefold and to help me and mine heal. Or if I did that same kind of thing, which I would not, and wanted to hurt someone and hex them, that same law still applies to me. So if I put something icky out there, I'm going to get that back 3 times. The
Right.
categories of magic themselves fall, and different categories, and predominantly colors. You have your white witches, such as myself, who do not do harm if we can help it. We avoid trying to harm any and follow the creed. You have your green witches, which there again are like the white witches. The green witches just are more, a little more earthy. They stay more closer to make their own poultices and grow their own herbs. And there again, I'm guilty of that as well. And then you get into the gray witches, who will walk the line. They will stay on the side of the light and not harm anyone. But then every now and again, they might do some vengeful spell. That's on them and their karma and what they're going to get back. And then, of course, we do really have the icky black magic, where people do actually intend harm or spite or revenge against someone else. And they will hurt things as well as people to achieve those ends. And we don't ever go there. A true Wiccan does not play with hurting anyone in black magic, ever. We don't harm people. We don't harm animals. That's not who we are and what we do. On the contrary, we're often the peacemakers or the fixers. The person who's, oh, you need a hand? Well, let me help you with that.
Okay, so I've often heard the question too that Wiccan people are the same as voodoo practitioners. How true is that, or is it not?
That is not true. Whereas Dawn does actually practice magic, and they do spellcraft. They follow a different pathogen, and their pathogen is very specific to themselves, that grew out of Roman Catholic gods, actually. And they have specific spirits and whatnot that they call upon, and god and goddesses that for their rituals, and they will actually use sacrifices. Not people, but they'll take a chicken or something like that and use its blood.
Yeah, and like Santeria, they do the same thing, do they not? In Santeria?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. And there again, it depends on the intent and your school of thought. In Santeria, well, if you're asking for prosperity for your family, for instance, who's starving, you may take that extra chicken and slaughter it ritualistically in order to bring prosperity to your family, but then go and cook the chicken and feed your family. And that type of spell often goes well. It depends on the intent of the individual, what you're trying to get out of it, and how you put it out there. If you're very specific or if you're very general in your spell casting. Often when you're asking, the best way to do it is to leave it open to the universe and to what the heavens, if you call whatnot, if you call them, the universe, the heavens, the Lord and Lady, what specific god or goddess you may have called upon to answer you. Often, if the broader you leave it, the more likely you are to get an answer and what you need. Say you did a money spell and you need prosperity or money for some unexpected bill that came up for car accident or fixing or something. If you were very specific and said, no, I only want Uncle Joe to give me a check to help me, chances are that's not going to work. It's going to fail because you're, one, You're trying to force another's will. That's against the Wicca creed. And you didn't leave it open. If you leave it open, give it a chance for your prayers to be answered. And it may come in the form of, well, your boss decided if you would like, you can have overtime for the next week because you're really slammed at work and they need the extra help. And you can earn that money easily and get your car repaired. Got to leave it a little bit open to what you want and what can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I see what you're saying.
The intent is a lot. It means a lot in what you do and the person that you are. If you offer love and kindness and openness, that's what you're going to get back. If you're vengeful and spiteful, then that's what you're going to get back. If you go into a Roman Catholic church, for instance, they have a lot of the same symbols and sigils that people don't even think about. And it's the same thing. You're coming together as a unit in a sacred space, and you're using the same symbols and elements. The priest is going to go down the aisle, and he's going to swing the censer, and he's going to cleanse the area. He's going to light the candles. He's going to use the holy water. He's using each of the elements into his ritual to offer that guidance to the people and to ask for prayers from a higher power. It's the same thing, only with Wiccans, we do it for ourselves. We don't need to go to the special place specifically or have a certain person do it for us. We can do it ourselves. With witches, it also varies, especially now, because we have the internet, like here. People don't necessarily learn traditionally anymore. I learned old school. I actually spent my time with a specific mentor for a year and day, which is, and then you spend another year in a coven to prove that you can interact and cooperate and meet the ritualistic needs throughout the Sabbath and the years. There again, it's very responsible and organized in how you learn basics and build that foundation up so that you get to the top and can actually go back down and teach those basics to other people. Once you reach your third year and thereafter, you're then qualified to teach others, to help and to mentor. So they make you go through different stages. That's their traditional way. Nowadays, we have so much internet and technology and books that a lot of people are just self-taught. And covens vary upon which part of the world you live in. And personally, I stay practicing solitaire now these days, after having done my time and earned all my degrees. Because as a psychic, it's a lot easier not to have to deal with 11 to 12 other people to organize not only their personalities, but to also interact with your gifts and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, okay, when you're talking, like when you were talking about, okay, Roman Catholics using candles and this different type of stuff, like, okay, I'm not Wiccan. As you know, I'm Baptist. But if I know someone is in need of healing or need of prayer, quite often what I will do is light a candle and, request prayer from God in Jesus' name. Roman Catholics will light a candle, but I believe in a lot of cases they will pray to the Virgin Mary.
Exactly.
And yet, I mean, there are so many different religions, and so many of them have different practices that are very, very similar, and yet not always intended the same.
There again, the school of thought and the philosophy is the same. I was raised Roman Catholic, but got my calling later in life and took over those reins for myself, kind of thing. But it is exactly the same. When you last year, when I went to a wedding for my niece and we went to her Roman Catholic service, I knew all the steps and what you're supposed to do in the ritual, because there is a certain way that you go into church. You come in and you baptize yourself with the holy water, and then you move on and you go sit in your pew, and that there's the earth element. First you do the water, and then the earth element, and then he comes down the aisle and he swings censer to, you know, drift the smoke up to the heavens. And then we get to the part of, you know, the ceremony where they're lighting their unity candle to be one, to send that prayer and, you know, safeguard their marriage. It's the exact same. It's just on who you're calling on and what you do. You know, you light a candle to help someone for their health, and you do it in Jesus' name. Same intent. It's the same thing. It's just a different route from a Wiccan point of view on how you're getting to your higher power.
Yeah.
You know, whereas, you know, you're literally doing the same thing, lighting that candle as I am. However, I've created a sacred space, and I've actually turned it into a spell, which is a little more complicated. As your prayer asks for, you know, can I have this? Or as a spell, not only asks, can I have this? But it also puts a little more power behind it, because you're pouring some of your personal energy into it, literally. And if you're in a coven, then you're all doing it together for the same intent.
Well, I suppose similar to a congregation that's in church and they all pray for the same thing.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you look back through history and from the anthropological point of view, Wicca actually predates Christianity. And a lot of the Christian symbolism and whatnot was taken and incorporated in. We have nearly the same holidays. We call them a little differently than you do. We have Yule, which is the winter solstice, where we celebrate the end of the year and, you know, the dark time coming to an end, and that hopes of spring is going to be there soon. Well, same thing with Christmas. You're celebrating an end and a beginning at the same time, literally days apart. Literally. You know, a lot of it is so much crossover. A lot of it really is.
Yeah, well, okay, like in the Roman Catholic Church that you're talking about, and they use the censer with the incense and all that stuff. Whereas myself as a paranormal investigator, when I smudge a house, I use sage.
Yes.
And that's an old ancient Indian practice.
Correct. Correct. Typically in Roman Catholic Church, it's frankincense or myrrh, which also is a strong blessing and banishing herb. Those two specifically are actually resins, and you have to burn them a certain way, whereas sage is actually a dried herb. But they all serve the same magical and or spiritual purposes. And the person wielding them puts their intent behind them. You know, when I smudge the house, which is being both Wiccan and gifted, I need to do that fairly often.
Oh yeah. Yeah, same here.
A lot. I do that a lot. Oh, it's the full moon time to smudge. We all follow the cycles of the moon. You know, not only do we follow the wheel of the year in its different aspects, you know, summer, winter, and celebrate those times of year, we also follow the moon. So if you're trying to do something really big and it's not near a Sabbath or a solstice, you're going to try and do that on the full moon. If you're trying to get rid of something, you're going to do that when the moon is waning. And if you're going to try and bring something to you, such as good health or prosperity or whatnot, you're going to try and do that with the growing of the moon. The moon is growing fuller so that you're attracting. You know, there are lots of little laws in Wicca, such as I mentioned the threefold law. We have that one.
Right.
There's also the karma. Everybody knows about karma.
Like what goes around comes around kind of a thing.
Exactly. What you put out there is what you're going to get back.
Right.
There's also the ripple effect. The ripple effect is it's throwing a pebble in a pond. When you throw a pebble in a pond, little ripples come out. So you don't know what's going to come of that. So say, same thing, you're wishing for someone's health to improve, but, you know, maybe they're really, really sick and they were in a car accident, or they've, you know, being diagnosed with something very icky. You can continue those prayers just like you would when you go into the Roman Catholic Church. When you go into the Roman Catholic Church, you can light a candle each time that you come in, and they will watch it until it is burned all the way through and all the way down. And each time you can come back in and restart that type of spell and do a new candle. Same thing, a Wiccan would do that, and that same ripple effect. If enough people pray, or if one little thing changes, and somehow one little, you never know what little thing in that domino effect, there's two of them, the ripple effect and the domino effect, is going to set off the chain reaction to change that course. Because while the future is fluid, you know, there are going to be touchstones that we all hit. So it depends on, you know, how much of the light you let in. You never know. You never know where it'll take you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, you were mentioning lighting a candle and letting it burn down until it's extinguished. I do the same thing. You know, when I light a candle for someone that I'm praying for healing for, I do the same thing. I light it and I let it burn right down. And if it needs to be another candle lit, then that's what I do. So yeah, that's very similar. Very similar.
It's exactly
and as you say, the intent. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it. Yeah, as you were saying, the intent. If the intent is pure, then the results should be pure as well, and come back to you positively if you're giving off positive vibrations.
Correct. Exactly correct.
Yeah. Well, see, some people have told me that I must be Wiccan because I light candles for people and, you know, this kind of a thing. And I said, no, I'm not. But as you say, there are so many different things in different religions that are so similar.
Exactly. And the crossover is universal.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you use that to your advantage. You know, just because I'm Wiccan and you're Baptist doesn't mean that we both can't light a candle for the same person with the same intent for them to be healthy or to improve or for good things to happen to them. We're both doing the exact same thing with good intentions. And doing that and offering those prayers to our higher powers, even though they differ, it's still the same intent. Mm-hmm. It still can only benefit that person, if nothing else, in that we're showing them a kindness. And how can that not be beneficial to all?
Yeah. Well, it's frustrating to me because, I mean, what you're saying, yes, I agree 100% with what you're saying. The intent is there. And if the intent is pure, then the results should come back pure. But, you know, the church that I have been involved with immediately cut me off their prayer group and everything else as soon as they found out that I was involved in investigating the paranormal and helping other people. And I can't see that.
That's very unfortunate. I'm sorry to be close-minded to that. I reiterate again that often Wiccans are more respectful and tolerant of others because we can see the universal themes throughout. I'm sorry they were close-minded about that. Just because you're interested in the ether, as we call it, you know, the spirit aspect of it, it should not be a reason not to be able to offer your assistance and prayers. The vibrations and kindness that you bring to the table.
Like I used to receive the notices every week by email of who were in need of prayer, who was sick, who had been diagnosed with what. And so I could pray for them. But then as soon as they found out that I'm involved in the paranormal and helping others with paranormal problems, I was cut off. So
I'm very sorry about that. Unfortunately, that's a closed-minded view, and
well, it sure seems that way. Yeah, and it's too bad.
They just assume that paranormal means that it's, you know, devils and demons and boogie boogie. We're Hollywood. We're back to Hollywood again, and that's not true. That's not true. You know, when people pass away, they leave spirits behind. They, you know, energy is.
We're all energy.
It's everywhere. It's in everything. As Wiccans, we know that, and we use that, and we help that to guide ourselves, and we'll manipulate it to an extent, but only to help. That energy doesn't change. So if a person dies, they may not just pass straight over. And there again, the philosophy changes. Whether are you going to heaven? Are you a Buddhist and going to be reincarnated? Are you Wiccan and you're going to go to the Summerland? None of us really know. There's no one on the other side who can say definitely this is the only way, this is the only path. How you get to your enlightenment and your higher power is specific to the individual and should be respected, in my opinion. So you know that the spirits pass and not all of them leave. There are ghost hunters all over the world.
Exactly, and that's why paranormal investigators exist.
Well, exactly. So we know that ghosts are there. We can prove it with sound. We can prove it with video. We can prove it with psychics. We know it happens from personal experiences. We can see that happens. So that's unfortunate that that particular group you were associated with were close-minded about it.
Well, I was always raised to believe. I was raised Presbyterian. Okay, I turned Baptist as an adult, but in both Presbyterian and Baptist churches, the teaching is you are not to have anything to do with paranormal if you do it sinful, etc., etc. To be honest with you, I had never felt more at ease. I feel like it's a real calling. Like there was a priest that I interviewed a while back, heck of a nice guy. Roman Catholic priest, very nice guy, and he said that he felt too it was a calling. And that's exactly the way I feel. But some view it as evil and that you're romancing Satan if you talk to the dead or try to help them.
I've encountered many of those.
Yeah.
I disagree with them strongly. They're entitled to their opinions.
I do too.
And I respect that,
right.
But with those individuals, and there have been many that I've come across, I agree to disagree. They're entitled to be the person that they are, and I can respect that and accept that, but I do not agree nor follow their train of thoughts there. Just because it's a spirit or in the ether does not make it evil. If so, then there are tens of thousands of grandmas who passed yesterday who they're not evil. They're not. They just hadn't made their way to the other side yet.
And there can be so many reasons why they remain, unfinished business, or they're there to protect somebody and they don't want to go, or they're afraid to go, afraid of being judged.
Correct. Or they're here to stay to help others in the ether. They may be guardians, literally, who are helping their ancestors.
Don't mind me, I'm not trying to be smart. But see, to me, ether, coming from a nursing medical background, ether to me is anesthetic.
Yeah, well, we'll call it spirit then. The spirit world.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist that.
No, it's okay. I've heard that. They're like, really, ether? You got a little bit? It's like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Oh, dear. Yeah. So I know what you're saying. Then when you refer to ether, then you're referring to spirit.
Correct.
Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The spirit world.
Okay, I got you.
Fairy realm, the magic realm, the realm between here and there, the end of light. We know there's something at the end of light, but none of us know specifically what it is.
Yeah. And there's something to be. I'm sorry. I apologize for interrupting you. Carry on.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You had a question. Go ahead.
Scientists have also proven that there is a definite weight to the human soul, and they have measured it, and they have, when a person passes, then when they draw their last breath, and it's not just the air going out, it's more than that.
Yes.
And that there is definitely a weight to the human spirit. So there's got to be some truth to it, that there's existence after life.
Oh, I agree, definitely. And as far as spirits and the paranormal, from the Wiccan perspective, they're not all human. And that's where you might get some of the closed-minded people freaking out, going, oh my God, they're all demons and devils on that side.
Well, sorry, what the heck was that?
Oh! It's my cat. My familiar's coming to hang out, too. He's taking us out. What we're doing. It's like, hey, Mom, what you doing? From the Wiccan perspective, going back to the elementals, not everything that is spirit is human. You know, we have earth.
Well, from our perspective too, because we have demons and we also have spirits who were once living human beings.
Correct. So. Correct. And some of them do go icky and nasty, whether they're human or not. We have that little magic fey realm that's just next to us, where that the veil is thin. That's what we call it. We call it the veil. And that's that little spirit section where they get stuck after passing or is near our realm, our everyday reality. And in there we have, you know, literally the little fairies, the little sylphs, the little salamanders, you know, the water sprites, the little fauns, gnomes. Those things exist. They're right next to us. So sometimes, both from a individual point of view as well as spiritual one, and especially if you're gifted, you know, you may, with your senses, be able to pick up, and you probably have on your investigations where you saw a shadow, or and you weren't quite sure what it was. It may have been, you know, too small, so you thought it was a child, but then it's just way too small to be a child. So what was that? What did you see? And you catch those things, and that could literally just be a little earth gnome.
Yeah, see, like I've never actually seen gnomes except the little ceramic things that you put in the garden. But yes, some people say that they have, and they've seen little angels about so high kind of a thing. And
yeah, those little angel things, those are little fairies.
Yeah.
Those little fairies running in
codes. Like I've never seen them, as I say, but that doesn't mean to say they don't exist.
Often seen a bonfire. Have you ever been to a bonfire?
Oh, yes.
Many a bonfire. And if you stare into those flames long enough, they start licking together and moving. And if you really pay attention to them, they look like little lizards running up and down the logs and twining in and out of each other. Have you ever seen that?
No, not really.
Next time, watch and see if you see them. Those are little fire elementals.
No, I haven't seen them. Like I have seen, and in smoke, like say when a house is on fire, in the smoke as it billows, I've seen these ugly, demonic-looking faces in the smoke.
Just like the spirits when they pass as people. Some are naughty and some are nice. Same thing with elementals. Some are naughty and some are nice. If you're nice, like me, you're going to get little fairy rings, literally where mushrooms pop up. You've left out little offerings for them, and you get your little fairy rings left out because you left a little sacred space for them to come and, you know, celebrate with you and bless you. You can also attract really icky things. Like you said, those nasty faces and that fire and the smoke that was billowing out. Likely those were nasty, both fire and air elementals in there.
Yeah, and really, really ugly. Obviously, like very demonic looking is what I've seen. And not just in my own camera, but I've seen it in newspaper clippings and that, and it shows the smoke billowing out from a place on fire, and that's...
Certainly. Certainly. You know, same thing. Some are naughty and some are nice. When you go out into a house and you investigate it and you look through an entire house and you take your pictures and you take your audio, and you will hear different things. Most often when you're investigating a place that's haunted, you're going to find nasty things. Most often.
Quite often, yeah.
If you go to, say, an old abandoned barn that no one's been in 30 years, it's in this field that's been there for 3 and foreclosed on or whatnot, go in there and investigate that. And you're going to find, most likely, the nicer bent. The place was left, and it's abandoned, so it's haunted in its own way, but not in an icky way. It's going to attract nicer things.
Yeah, a lot of people tend to think that an abandoned building is automatically inhabited by evil spirits, and that's not always the case. So I know what you're saying.
Correct. You know, some of the haunted places are, especially where the energy expended was violent or bloody, that's where you're going to get the negative thing. So you're going to pick up the nasty spirits, the grounded spirits, the elementals that are attracted to pain and suffering are going to go there. In a place where, say, an old palace or something like that, if you really got to investigate something like that, you know, you're going to find layers. You're going to find some rooms that, oh, no, I don't want to go in there. I don't like that one. That one doesn't feel good to me. Your intuition tells you that that's an icky place. Whereas in a different part of it, you know, you may pick up an older woman who passed gently, and, you know, she loved her spinning wheel and raised, you know, 6 kids, and is just stuck there.
Wants to stay there.
Wants to stay there, and she's gone through that routine so many times and so often that literally, there again, back to the elements, the wood remembers, the stones remember. They have absorbed, and she has left some of her energy into those things. And if they're not cleansed, like we mentioned smudging earlier, they're not cleansed away constantly, it's going to stay there. It's going to stay there forever.
So, okay, how is a Wiccan person regarding crystals, the use of crystals?
Oh,
do you use them much or no?
Busted.
Okay.
I use them all the time. We charge crystals for different things. We pick the ones that we're drawn to, and we use them for different purposes. Different stones have different properties, both physically and magically. We charge them and cleanse them, and we use them for personal reasons and or in spell work. You can use them in grids. You can use them for healing, prosperity. I mean, if you can think of it, there's a stone for it and to be used. This particular stone is lapis. It's an enhancement stone, but it's also an anti-anxiety stone. This one is actually literally a little worry stone that you can play with. So since I'm online, I'm using my little worry stone to help me personally. My house, for instance, is gridded, what we call warded as well, where you put up magical shields so that no one can come in and hurt you, that nothing icky can come in. No fae, no elementals, no people, nothing real time icky is allowed to come in. We put up shielding, we put up guards, so to speak, and we ask.
Literally, you know, when I apologize. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. When you do it.
It seems like I keep interrupting you, and I apologize for that.
No,
but no, just like us. When excuse me, I'm sorry. Like when I smudged the house, there was one show in particular I did that right after the show I felt so negative, so much darkness around here that I had to smudge the entire house to get rid of that dark feeling, and it did go. So I mean, I know smudging works. So
yes, yeah, it does. It does, and we bring things in on us. You know, we go out
and we can't help it.
And it comes back with you. So it's important to smudge and to salt and to clean. And what we do is we just set up an extra barrier. You've probably unconsciously done the same thing and don't even know it. You have likely have crosses in your house, or little knickknacks, polywacks that mean important things to you, and you've put them in certain places around your house strategically, and every time you see them, they make you feel better. They make you feel safe. Think about that for a minute. It's another universal that everyone does. We're just a little more specific about it. We use herbs and stones and symbols, and they just differ in the kinds that you use. But it's the same thing. You, most Roman Catholic, there again, we'll go back to the Roman Catholics, houses have altars in their house, where literally you can light your own candles to Mother Mary, and you can put your own incense up for Mother Mary to send your prayers up for your family. You know, same thing in Chinese cultures. They have their own personal home altars And same thing on home personal altars, where we do our own candles, our own incense, our own stones, and we use every little bit. You know, you can't, when your intent is good, you can't overdo magic. You know, you can't pray less and it help you. You know, every day people pray constantly and they don't think about it. You do it so much and so often that if you actually took a notebook and wrote down every time you said, thank this or thank that or please this or a prayer for that, you would be astounded at how many you had in a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And speaking of full moon, well, this is something else. Like farmers, for example, I call myself a semi-farmer. I'm very fond of gardening. I have been all my life, and
very good
I know. Yeah, yeah, and we tend to try to plant certain crops by the full moon because that seems to be the best
because it works
for the germination period and for their growth. Doesn't have anything to do with being sacrilegious or, you know.
No, it's about following the natural rhythms and cycles of Earth and the moon, which the elements are with this all the time. We're a little more far removed from it than our ancestors because we have technology and air conditioning and, you know, iPhones and things like that. But sometimes if you unplug and look back and you pay attention to nature, most of what you need is right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're really upset and whatnot, and you go and spend a day in the sun, or go for a walk, or go hang out by the water, you feel better.
Oh yeah.
You know, you've even though you didn't know it, you've gone and you've grounded yourself. You've been able to let down your shields that you've been holding up against everyone else, and you've let nature pull those things, those icky things, off of you, and cleanse you, and calm you.
I still maintain, too, that the cure for diseases such as cancer is right in the ground. You know, instead of all these chemicals and all this other garbage that do more harm than good, I still think it's in the ground.
Wiccans really don't like that stuff. We try and stay as natural as possible. Home remedies and natural remedies, it's a last-ditch effort if we have to go to the doctor and actually cave and give in and get the antibiotics, which that too, you know, is antibiotics are a natural, you know, penicillin, for instance, grown naturally. And
oh yeah, antibiotics are one thing, but I mean chemo and stuff like that.
It to a whole synthetic new level that it's not anywhere near. It's man-made now and not down to earth, which we prefer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there was a lady, a good friend of ours, our family, she was suffering from lung cancer. And so I made her a herbal tea just, you know, to help when she was having the chemotherapy and all that other stuff. And she said it really did help with the nausea. Well, an awful lot of people would probably think that I was a witch because I did that, but it's just the mixture of the different herbs that I put together, brewed them into a tea, put them in a thermos, took them over to her. She could drink it cold. She could add sugar to it if she wanted to. She could drink it hot if she wanted to. Had nothing to do with witchcraft, but you'd be surprised the number of people that thought that it was.
There again, it would vary on the philosophy. From my perspective, it was. It's not witchcraft specifically, but it was spellcraft because you knew what herbs to use to help calm the tummy. I assume you probably put some chamomile in it and some peppermint.
Oh yeah,
which are both herbs that will calm the person and the tummy.
Lemon balm.
Probably maybe a lemon balm and some ginger, likely. And knowing those properties that the herbs actually have, they're both magical and physical. And you actually made a tea, made a tincture. You know, you boiled up the herbs and you turned it into a tea and you gave it to her. And that was an herbal potion. That was a spellcraft that you made, you know, when you went through your process of making the tea, as well as the whole time you were making it, you were thinking and you were praying, I want to help her. I want to make her tummy feel better.
Yeah, and she said it did help considerably. So
Exactly, because your only intent was to offer her help, comfort, kindness,
mhm.
and you did. So congratulations to you. You didn't even know it, but you actually did. It's a little spellcraft there. People do it all the time, and you don't know it. You don't realize it. You know,
Yeah.
you
Well, see, I grow herbs all the time, and I have made different types of teas too. Like if my stomach's upset, and I know what calms mine down, and if other people have stomach upsets, then I can kind of get an idea what will calm them as well.
yeah,
And
and
you
that's
know, and if
another.
it works, I mean, heck, I can't see that as being evil. Your intent is good, and you make this
It's
for the
not.
ultimates. But some people say, "Oh no, it's evil. It's witchcraft. It's Satanism, and
I
it's got nothing to do with it."
I disagree with those people. I
Mhm.
disagree with those people because your intent was not to harm, and mine never is. You know, and if you think that I'm icky and horrible because of my personal philosophy, well, sorry, you're going to miss out on a lot of great things that I can help you with. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're saying. Oh, that darn spot! My, I will be so glad. Anybody watching this video are going to think that I'm just some kind of a toothless wonder. But oh dear God, I hate it because
you're
every time
fine.
I
You're fine, Billy Goose. It's going to be fixed soon. It's going to be okay.
oh, I hope so.
It's going to be good. You know,
Oh Lord, love it up. But yeah, it is amazing. You know, when you were discussing a lot of your beliefs, your policies, your practices, different things like that, it's amazing how so many religions and beliefs do have the same type of things. It's just maybe they're worded differently, or they have a
exactly.
different title or whatever. But it's exactly the same thing.
Exactly. It
So,
is, but if you're more often going to hit a wall when you try to explain that
oh yeah,
than them
yeah.
understand or listen, or even you immediately say which and they've turned the other way. They want nothing to do with me, and I'm like, okay, bye bye then. Nothing I can do or say is going to change your mind because just the word alone has made you decide a prejudice, and it's unfortunate. You know, it's a political thing to some extent, but it's just me. There is no, in my opinion, each path's person, each path for each person, how they get to enlightenment and to their higher power is up to them. You know, I found long ago who I need and what works for me, but um, I don't judge others unless they're hurting other people. If you're hurting other people or other things, children, animals, that kind of thing, well, then yeah, I'm not your friend, and I'm not going to be. But otherwise,
Same
it's
here.
not for me. Not for me to
Good
choose.
grief.
It's not for me to decide. You know what you need. You know.
Yeah. So have you ever heard like people have said to me, well, if you're Wiccan, you're a witch, and others say no, you're a Wiccan, you're not a witch. Are they part and parcel, both the same, just a different name, or how would you
Um,
put that?
Wiccan is a witch because we practice witchcraft, and that's part of it. In the
Okay.
philosophy of Wiccan, you actually do go through the Sabbaths and you go through the rituals and you do the spellcraft. Pagans who are not specifically believing in the Lord and Lady and following the same particular philosophy and Sabbaths and solstices and whatnot, may call upon a particular god only and use spellcraft with that particular god that they have chosen. That makes them pagan. Doesn't make them Wiccan. You know, spellcraft and witchcraft are almost the same, but not quite. You see the
Mhm.
difference? You have to be Wiccan particularly to be a witch. And there again, you know, witches vary on their education. You know, for instance, we're online and there are a lot of people who read a couple of books and I did a couple of spells and hey, I'm a witch. No.
And that's when it can get
That's
dangerous. I mean, they figure they know it all, and they start fooling around with it, and they bite off more than they can chew.
exactly
I better not say bite the way this tooth is, but anyway.
exactly. And get themselves into a lot of trouble by dabbling.
Yeah.
Because the first rule of magic is don't do it unless you know how to do it. And when you're learning how to do it, it's always a master and an apprentice scenario. You always have someone there who knows what they are doing and can cover your butt, who can fix it if you start to mess it up, so that never happens and you get the lesson, but you don't get the nasty repercussions necessarily to help you.
Well, the same with paranormal investigators.
Put in the give you the responsibility and the education in order per course. Because you are stewards. You're stewards of the earth.
Yeah. Well, same with people that watch these paranormal shows and they figure, oh, gee, well, I can do that. I'm a paranormal investigator. And they don't seem to realize the dangers that are involved.
Yes.
And so I can see what you're saying, definitely.
Yes, it's the exact same thing. And then when you're me and you put the two together, oh, no, buddy, you back right up. Don't you go in that building. Stop right there. Oh, you didn't listen to me? Now you have a problem and you want me to fix it. Is that it? Okay. I'm perfectly willing to help you. You're going to keep doing that? No, I'm not going to help you. You need to learn that lesson on your own then. You know, it's not my...
Yeah, you can tell them that if they don't stop, then that's their problem.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It is my place to teach and to guide, but I can't do it for you. And if you're not going to be responsible enough with your education and with your gifts and your investigating, then I can't help you.
Excuse me.
You're not going to
exactly.
listen, there's nothing I can...
Because you're putting yourself in danger too each time you go back to help them when they say they're going to stop. Like I've had paranormal investigations where I've said to the client, okay, this problem has been solved, but you've got to stop doing what you're doing. Oh, I will. And then as time goes by, nope, they haven't. And they run into problems again, so they call me to go back again. And it just gets to the point where you've got to say, no, I'm sorry, you're on your own. I mean, I'd love to help other people, but not be, you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Healthy boundaries are very important. At some point, you have to cut them loose. I have numerous people that I mentor. But if you're going to continue to go back into the negative, and you keep doing it again and again and again, and you haven't learned the lesson, then I'm not the one that you need. I'm not the one who can help you. You're going to keep drawing that negativity to you, and I'm not going to keep continually using my energy to give to you to fix it.
Exactly.
Not there's someone else out there who needs the prayer or who needs the spell or who needs the education, and they could have my energy instead, and they could learn and be okay, and they could be prayed for, or cured, or, you know, their life situation improve, instead of me continuing to waste my time and energy on you. Not to be harsh or ugly, but some people have to
the point,
themselves, you know, and there's always those who
you got to be to the point. You got to draw your boundaries.
Healthy boundaries are very important, whether it's real time, magic, spellcraft, paranormal investigating, or whether you're using your psychic abilities. It's very, very important to have your healthy boundaries that you keep for yourself to preserve yourself and keep yourself whole and happy. You know, to retain your energies and give yourself time to continue to heal and grow on your own path. You can't give it all away, you know, because then you'll just break. You can't break.
But we learn from our mistakes, and you kind of hope that the clients that you're helping would learn from theirs as well, or from what you tell them, what you've sensed, what you see, what you've tried to get rid of to help them. But some don't do that, and it can be very frustrating.
Yes, been there. On each level, I've been there.
Been there, done that.
Been there in the house cleaning. I've been there with the individual. And it's harder for me even because I am the crone. I am the priestess. I am a psychic. And so I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to help you. I'm supposed to heal. I'm supposed to fix it. But at some point it starts to hurt me too much and I have to stop. I have to cut you off and I have to cut you away, not to be ugly or mean, but for self-preservation, because
Mm-hmm.
You've got to fix it on your own. And if you're not meeting me halfway, then this is a pointless venture. And that's where you get into people who are psychic vampires.
Yeah.
You know, you get into that territory, or the constant person who's enabled, who's constantly an addict or constantly in a self-destructive mode. And you have to step back from those people, and either they're going to fix it themselves or they're not. And there again, it's their energies, and their energies are coming out, and their energies are going to, you know, affect that house that they're in. So you're going in to clear out the spirits they've attracted because of their negative behaviors. You know, they've are an alcoholic who's been abusive or whatnot, and they've attracted icky, nasty things into their lives and their homes. And you go in and you clear out and sage and whatnot, and set the boundaries and the wards, and you clean out the ghosts and make them all go away, and they feel better. That person suddenly gets on the right track, they're healthier, and they're okay. But then they slip right back into that same groove of negative behaviors. And what happens? The same ick comes right back.
Yep.
And you just have to step away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you have to draw the line somewhere. I agree.
It's very important. Very important on so many levels.
Yeah. So, Darren, what was the question I was going to ask you?
Yeah, go back.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Can I think of it now? Oh, dear me. Well, maybe I'll think of it after. Sorry.
Okay. That's fine.
So anything else you'd like to add? You know, we've actually gone through an hour now. This is amazing.
Oh, wow.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does. No, I think we'll just stop there. We can always do another section and go more into the elementals another time. Or
Alrighty.
So many different other things.
Okay, then. All right. Well, thank you so very, very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Melanie. Melanie Herch. Thank you. And really appreciate you coming on, and I would love to have you back again, believe me.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Next time I'll have my my proper tooth line.
Okay.
I promise. So, okay, thank you so much. You take care, eh?
You're
Bye
very
for now. God bless.
Bye-bye. Good night. God bless.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining our broadcast tonight. Our special guest was Melanie Herch. Uh-oh, I'm playing it again. I didn't hit stop, I hit play. Beg pardon. My mistake. Oh well. My mistake. I'll own it. But anyway, we'll blame it on the heat. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining our show tonight. Our special guest tonight was Melanie Herch, and the topic, Wicca and Wiccan beliefs and practices. Very interesting topic, and I'm sure we'll be able to have Melanie back on the show again some other time. She's a very interesting person to talk to, and very interesting to listen to, and quite knowledgeable. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Bye for now. God bless.